can get you.
Legend.
We'd be more than grateful to have you on locked
Always.
in. So, all right, let's get started. Is this kicking off? Stop. Yeah. One thing I haven't done is I haven't changed the internet. Just in case we get... No, we're okay. We're all right. What do you reckon? Just leave it on Wi-Fi and take the punt?
Yeah, well, it was better than my hotspot last week.
Oh, yeah. Pat.
Oh, that was terrible.
Pat didn't mince words on your internet last week.
No,
that was terrible. You were so delayed. It was just like, it was so hard. It was just like pauses and...
I got home because I had to pick Mum up from the airport, so I left the office and went home and did it from there, and got home and our Wi-Fi wasn't on, like it wasn't working, and I was like, "Fuck!" So I was like, "Fuck!" So I tried hotspot, and obviously the hotspot didn't work. And the worst thing was, I got like once we finished with it, I went and turned the Wi-Fi modem off and back on, and it was working good as gold in like 3 minutes. I was like,
swear to God, sometimes at home you just got to plug it in.
That's it.
It's one of those.
off and on, mate. Off and on.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah, but it was fun and games editing it to actually make it sound good. Punished, but that's all right.
All right, let's do it. Hello, punters. Welcome to Locked In. It's a bit of a different version of Locked In today. Matthew Zammit joining us, Nick Lloyd here on the couch. Zammit, how are you, mate? What's going on? We're just congratulating on your big win yesterday.
Top of the world, Sammy. Top of the world. Yeah. You tell you what, it is not easy winning races in Sydney, especially when you get to metro level. So you just savor them when they come along. And absolutely loving life. It was a fantastic result. Great to see him come back with a big win, and hopefully sets him up for a nice prep through the rest of spring and into summer.
I think you've got a nice prep ahead of you with that
Hope
horse.
so, mate. He's got a very good first up record. So, I'm a big sort of realist. So I like to keep things in perspective. I try not to get carried away. So I think there'll be a fair few knockers out there saying, "Oh, well, he does that first up, but let's see what happens for the rest of the prep." But yeah, like you, mate, I'm quietly confident he's really going to start to show his maturity from now on, and hopefully we'll get a good prep out of him.
So we're currently talking about Away to the Stars, in case anyone doesn't. In case people that listen to this podcast aren't in a group chat with us. That's what we're talking about, Zamatos. And what's the prep look like this?
Oh, Everest, no doubt.
Obviously.
Well, that's it. We're waiting for a phone call. Yeah, absolutely. So Nash was awesome yesterday. He gave some really good feedback. I asked him what would he do, and he said although he's a 5-year-old and he's had 14 starts, he's still got a lot to learn, still doing a lot wrong. So he said, do everything you can to help him until he gets through that learning period. So place him conservatively, put him in the worst possible grade he can run in, and let him keep learning and making mistakes, but hopefully able to still win if you're keeping him in that sort of company. So, Look, from a weight perspective and handicap perspective, we'll probably have to step him up to Saturday class next start, I would have thought, which we wouldn't be afraid of. But this time of year, it's not going to be easy to win races. So that'll be the next target.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, that's exciting, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, mate. Honestly, you can't buy horses like that. People are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars trying to get something that's half as good as him, and we bred him and, paid peanuts for the stallion we sent the mare to. We bred the mother. You just cannot buy that whole process and experience. It's been a long process for everyone involved, but it's so rewarding when you get there.
Is this one that Pat and I had shares on, and then he got us out of that, or we didn't?
No, that was his uncle. We
never had shares in this one.
No, I never had shares.
Pat's my racing manager, and he's steered us into,
Yeah, you were probably offered one. Let's say that. You were probably offered one, knocked it back.
It never came to my desk. It never came across my desk, that offer.
No, I got a poster up on the wall, mate. Do not offer a share to this guy.
Pat's head. Well, yeah, look, and that's fantastic. And like you said, it is going to be competitive. If it does go to Saturday grade, and this Saturday is no exception in regards to what we do have ahead of us. We have such a big day of racing ahead of us this weekend. We're talking about on the podcast this morning about how just the storylines and everything leading up to Everest and the races around Everest. And no more so than this weekend with the shorts, the 7 stakes,
time-honoured
inaugural 7 stakes, which is just so the 7 stakes is George Main and
it's where the George Main was. And then
That's
the
right.
King Charles on Everest Day is what the George Main was.
yeah.
And what's the guys? Have I missed it here? What's the significance of 7? Is it just Channel 7 sponsoring it?
I think it's Channel 7. Yeah,
it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, right. I thought like there's only 7 horses in it.
I think it's.
I got no idea.
I'm fairly sure it's the Channel 7.
The
Yeah, I
Channel
just
7
assumed so,
Stakes.
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's not. I thought originally that it was 7 furlongs, but it's not. It's a mile.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
There you go.
So we do have a few races to get through today. We might take it a little bit easier. I'll still buzz you if you just ramble on, Sam it.
You get bored?
Set up for you to get a buzz.
How many times can I mention Way to the Stars? Give me a limit.
Be that the stuff that'll get buzz will be Way of the Stars mentioned, Rocky Form, and maybe Kovalika.
Yep. Nominated
We're in
for
danger,
Queensland.
Nick. We're in danger, mate.
This could just be a full episode of buzzing.
Yep.
Which I'd be all right with.
I'm surprised
Yeah.
Sunshine in Paris wasn't on that barred list.
Well, I'm kind of getting on the Sunshine in Paris train, and I actually think the Office is. I think Blake's
Wow.
a bit.
yeah. Well, Blake did originally put her as number 3 horse in the country at the end of the autumn, and then
Oh, he did too.
he did. Yep.
I tell you, he's got a good record, that bloke, doesn't he, when he makes those predictions? Wasn't it I Wish I Win, the other one he predicted before he came out and won that TJ Smith? He goes all right, BJ, doesn't he?
He does. He does. I feel
Hope
like
so.
he stole Sunshine in Paris from me, though.
Sorry, Nick. Yeah, well, he took it off you. Okay,
He
let's give you that one.
After I tipped her in the surround, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, we're going to jump on that bandwagon."
Yeah.
So you're on in the
he's-
surround, hey, Nick? Well found. Very good.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, you were early. Yeah,
14s.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
I had a good crack at her on the weekend, but I took the $5.50 all in on the Monday, and she got out to $10 final field. So I didn't go again either. But anyway,
A couple just to spend a couple of minutes on this. I know you both go into futures betting quite a lot.
Yeah.
Is there I think on the day now, have we just seen so many examples over the past few months of where there's really no point having that futures bet? Like you're watching them on the day and you watch them blow out. Like even we were laughing this morning. We got 15s of on Osapenko this weekend. It's like, who knows what it's going to be like on Saturday. You can take 10s or 11s now. By Friday, could be more. Like I
Yep.
think unless you're really
I think it's case by case. Like if you look, say for example, the Exford Plate on Saturday, 1400 3-year-olds. Legacies was $3.20 all in. Little Bros $3.50. Little Bros didn't accept. Legacies $2.10 favourite, and looks a complete put in take out sort of job. Like if you had like the good mail that Little Bros wasn't going to be there in that sort of example, then yeah, you probably step in. The Benedetta versus What You Need, like when the mail was that What You Need might not accept, but unless you can go through, I think, and you can look at the weights and whatnot, and you can see a horse like Globe, for example, last weekend. If he didn't get a run where you go, hang on, this horse is 40th in the order of entry and it's $3, probably not going to get a run. Like that takes up a lot of the market percentage, and you know he's not going to be there on the Saturday. Then you can sort of bet around him. But I think the Monday, like the week of the all-in betting's probably not as.
gone now.
It's a little bit cast, I think.
It's got harder. It's definitely got harder. There's still opportunity.
There's an edge there.
Yeah, I think you've just got to beat SP. Hey, that's all you've got to do. So you need to sharpen your skills at anticipating SP for these horses. That's really what it comes down to. But you've also got to be comfortable that you're not going to get it right all the time. It's not a perfect science. And if you start to become really hesitant because you're not quite sure, you'll miss out every time, and you might as well just forget betting all in. So sometimes I think you just got to take a punt. You got to take your chance and be prepared to go to the line with that touch of unders maybe every now and then. But if you're beating SP more often than not, you'll be doing well. And then if you can get around the edges, some of those examples Nick spoke of, which maybe you didn't know about, but they fall in your favour in terms of horses not accepting or horses scratching, barriers and how they fall. You get enough of that on your side in the long run, it'll make a difference, and you'll have some success. It is getting harder. You got to be really careful. You got to be really careful. You don't just take the price because it goes up and you like the horse and it looks nice. There's got to be some thinking behind it, and I do think you need to put some effort into pricing it yourself before that market goes up, and then giving yourself a sense of whether you should jump in or not.
There's not many that don't get missed these days either. Like you don't sit there unless you're finding something that's running in the middle of nowhere and you think, shit, this thing could jump out of the ground and could do this prep, like, which fuck, how hard's that?
Yeah. A lot of my
overseas, like doing the same overseas, seeing a Paddington or something like that run, on a Saturday night, like you did. Like, how often does that come around as well? Like,
got lucky there, but I do a lot of my futures punting will be, like, for example, on the weekend where we saw Imperatriz, like I knew she was going to the Moya. I knew the Moya wasn't going to be that strong. So I sort of load her into the bet slip like she's going to blow a field away. And if she hits the front at the 200, then I'll press confirm on the bet before the race is over and before the markets have time to react. Gold, what was the horse of Gay's? Goldman, when he won that Andrew Ramsden or whatever race it was, he went into that race as a $3 favourite or something like that, but he was 50s in the Melbourne Cup. So I knew if he wins a race that gets him ballot exempt, he's going to firm in a Melbourne Cup market. Yeah. So that was the same. He was 4 in front at the
general knowledge is usually having you ahead of the pack, but I just think, there's not much that gets missed these days.
The market seems to be really reactive, I think, to races now as well. So like if you know a horse, like this weekend could be the perfect example in the shorts, for example, going towards an Everest. Like if a Lost and Running, say, comes out and wins the shorts on Saturday, he's $26 in the Everest. Well, that price will be halved. Like the market will just react straight away. They'll wind him in. Yeah. So if you can sort of be almost ready, like if that's the sort of play
it's that one step ahead. Like if you're really keen on Lost and Running this weekend, you're probably better off having a bet on him in the Everest because I think a lot of the bookies are money back on all in.
Yeah, if you don't get a slot, you get your money back. Bonus bets, it's different because your bonus bets technically expire after the 7 days. So even if you've got it on and it's 7 days later that the race is and your bonus bet's gone, so don't be afraid to have your cash on it.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to take a view. Hey, like there are examples this week. Pericles went up $15 in the 7 stakes. Now maybe there are plenty of people out there who think he's every day of the week a $15 chance, but I could not mark that horse $15, and he firmed quickly into 11, and then he opens final field. I think it's $8 or whatever he is around that mark. Yeah. If you've locked in $15, you're laughing, and he may blow out back to that price. Who knows? We'll soon find out. But you are currently in a very, very good position, and it doesn't matter whether that horse wins or not. You get enough of those examples in your favour and in your wallet, you're going to do well, and you're going to be winning long term.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's get into this weekend's races and talking about 7 stakes. We'll start there. So obviously all our prices are brought to you by our good friends over at Dabble. Zam, we're on the Dabble live stream this weekend, so you'll have to lob into the banter channel and say hello to the boys, and hopefully we can back some winners for them. We're running at about 50% for winners on the CV3s, and I think we're going all right.
50% strike rate. That's good.
Yeah, so you get these CB3, so it's cash back up to third on any of the tips that we put in. They let us have like 2 or 3. Yep. I think we've had money back on the other 50% that haven't saluted. We've probably had money back on most of those.
How good's that?
A few.
We had a bad run where we were copping a few fourths.
Yes, we did have a couple.
I tipped something that came last, and that was it.
That was a sick watch.
Toe the line at the Gold Coast. It should have won, and just we went into the rail and went into the water, and it was just one of those. But
Garrett Chico is a bit stiff at Caulfield the other day.
Oh yeah, that's true.
$14 shot run third. Hopefully, a few people actually backed it each way.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have. Surely they would have. So on the Dabble app right now, Fangirl is the favourite for the 7 stakes over 1,600 metres at $3.50. Zaki $3.70. Think it over at 5s with Nash on board. Pericles, as you just mentioned, Zaman, he's into $8 in the Dabble market. And Hinged is the first of our double figure odd horses at $11. I actually don't mind Hinged for a bet. I would be interesting to see if you guys are with me or against me. We'll still do a bit of a run of order. So, Zaman, if you want to have your kind of take on this race, and then Nick can kind of retort or add or what, we can have some questions. We'll go like
Yeah.
that. So who are you liking for the inaugural running of the 7 stakes?
I'm keen on Pericles, as I gave a hint to just before. So I've been with him in both starts this prep, and I do tend to be a little bit loyal like that, unless there's a good reason to be hopping off. I'm not afraid to hop off if it's the wrong set of circumstances, but no reason for me to, and you're getting value here. I think he's underestimated by the market, still is. Fangirl, look, okay, yep, fair favourite. But when's the last time she put two together, Nick? You'll know. You're the oracle, mate. I'd be guessing it's a long time ago. Maybe back in her 3-year-old.
I was going to say a Reginald Allen into a carbine club.
That's what I thought. They were actually the 2 races I had in mind. So, and I wouldn't be surprised. They're the last 2 she did. And I know she's had many, many excuses along the way, and wet tracks have thwarted her career, and she gets 2 dry tracks back to back. So someone would argue that, and I wouldn't doubt it. But barrier 10, she's going to get back. I could not take those odds, and I think she's there to take on. And the value I've found with Zaki, I think still a touch on the decline and not at his best anymore. Think it over, still coming back from that long break and finding his best form. Hinged, no doubt, a chance in the race and will be on speed, Sammy. But Pericles, for me, I think he'll find either outside the lead or one out, one back. If Hinge wants to press for the outside lead spot, he might tuck in behind her. Get a lovely run in the race, and he's going to be extremely hard to hold out and probably get close enough to Epsom favourite if he does go on and win this race.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you reckon?
Yeah, well, I'm all over Pericles in the Epsom. I think I'm a bit disappointed that he got, what did he get, 56.5 or 55.5 or something like that.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I cannot understand it.
I can't quite work that out. Like, what did he win? He won a tramway and a spring preview this prep, and anyway,
Golden Miles got less than him, and Golden Miles a Group 1 winner.
Yeah,
how do you figure it? I've got no idea how you figure it.
I think they've sort of weighted him more on potential and what would have happened if they kept him at the mile. But anyway, in saying that,
Complete
this is
opposite reason of why you have a rating system. Rating him on potential.
That's right. But anyway, he's here. Wait for age. I think the mile suits him. He won't get a penalty if he does win this race, so I expect him to be wound up and ready to go. Obviously, he's won 2 races already this prep, so I'm with him. I think, like Zemet said, he's just going to get that perfect run. I sort of thought you've got Zaki hinged roll forward. Think it over is going to be handy, and probably Huya Mal from barrier 4, second up at the mile now, might be a little bit closer as well. So I don't think he's going to get that picnic in front like he did last start, but I think he's a bit more versatile that he can just slot in, and probably his best asset's that turn of foot. So, Pericles on top. If Zaki isn't on the decline, like I sort of do agree that he is a little bit, I wouldn't shock me to see him win second up at the mile. And the other one that comes out of the tramway behind Pericles, so I actually backed that day, was Zayrek. I thought he was a really good run. He's got a good second up record.
He does explode second up. He does. I think we all had a very good bet on him second up last prep, didn't we? For a very good result.
He was sort of right in the market a lot of times in that autumn. So I think the penny might have finally dropped with him while he's been in Australia. So just interesting. Andrew Adkins, no knock on the jockey, but in terms of metro strike rate, not the best, but he knows the horse. So that's a positive. He's had 3 rides on him, and he hasn't won yet on him, but he's been thereabouts.
Sayrek, $23. Yeah, it is wider. I think the top 2 at the market are where most people will look. I think K-Mac, and not to have a major knock on him, but he's just not in the greatest form right now. I would have that as a negative against Fangirl right now.
Agreed. The data says not anywhere near his best form.
Yeah, and otherwise I think Fangirl would be a good bet as well, but
she gets really a lot in her favour. The only thing is, how far back does she get from that gate, and how much speed is there to actually allow her to come on and into the race? So
they'll back it off mid race. A mile at Randwick, wait for age. They'll back it off mid race. They'll find their position early, those first 4, and that'll be it. I don't know that the pressure will continue to come. She's going to need to be a lot better than them. She's going to give them a head start, and she's going to need to reel in horses with a good turn of foot like Pericles. Not going to be easy.
That's an easy one for the first leg of the locked-in multi. So you can follow us at the leg up on Dabble. We'll have the locked-in multi. It's been getting close.
Yeah, I was stiff last week. Well, not stiff because Imperatriz was dynamic, but yeah, Giga Kick going down as a short price
As the only leg,
yeah.
Anyway, it'll happen this weekend, so make sure you get in there and follow that multi along. So I'd say Pericles, the place would be the first leg of that multi.
Yes.
So let's move on to the shorts. You want to do the shorts? 1,100 metres.
Let's do the shorts.
I think it's a Group 2, the shorts. And this is your kind of real lead-up race. We're going to see a couple of these ones here. We were saying on this morning's podcast, Zamet, that, by the time we're all chatting in a week's time on Thursday when we record our potties, we might have another 5 slots taken in the Everest. You just don't know what's going to come out of this weekend. And there's a fair bit to take out of this race. So In Secret is a current favourite at $3.10 with Dabble. Overpass is $5.50. Remark $6.50. Buenos Noches at $7.50. Private Eye $10. Hawaii 5011s. Lost and Running 12s. Marzu's obviously got the slight 15s. There could be 3 or 4 horses I just mentioned right then that could potentially have an Everest slot, and probably, like I said, maybe 3 or 4 of them definitely will have an Everest slot. So there's a lot to take out of this race. We might flip the script a little bit. Nick, do you want to kind of kick us off on where your head's at in regards to this year's running of the shorts?
Yeah, good race.
Great race.
A lot of different angles that you can go to. You've obviously got the fit horses like your In Secret, Remark, Buenos Noches, and then you've got not that they're not classy horses, but then you've got the Group 1 sprinters in Private Eye, Lost and Running, Marzu. Marzu's obviously already got that Everest slot locked down. The way that I'm sort of looking at this race is who I think needs to win it the most to put their name up in lights and get that slot. And for me, it comes down to 2 horses that are sort of nice each way prices, and that's Private Eye and Lost and Running. I think if Private Eye is back to his best, he was disappointing in that Victory Stakes. He went to Eagle Farm at the end of last prep. He was well back to $2.40 favourite that day. He got beaten by Rothfire, King of Sparta. That form stood up all the way through the carnival, and he was really plain, I thought, Private Eye. But his most recent trial, when the blinkers went back on, you look at his first up record, he's won 3 from 6, including this time last year when he won the Gill Guy and got an Everest slot on the back of that. So Natural Wheeler goes on. There looks a good bit of speed in this. Overpass, Remark, Lost and Running, Hawaii 50, they'll all go forward. The race might really be run to suit Private Eye. So I'm going to give him one more chance and say that he can get back. But honestly, any one of them could win it, and I wouldn't be shocked.
What do you reckon, Zamet? It's a tough race.
It is a tough race. And the thing that makes it toughest for me is it's very hard to be perfectly confident about any of them. There's something that you'll find, and you don't need to go digging too far to find something, whether it be the distance and, they want maybe 1,200, whether it be the track condition and they want the sting out versus it being as dry and as firm as it could potentially be on Saturday, or fitness as an edge. Are they there set up to win, or is this a stepping stone? There's a fair bit. Exactly. So Nick touched on a couple of them. The one that really stood out most for me in terms of a factor was the dry track. And why? Because at Canterbury yesterday was a highway. They were coming off that track, those jockeys, saying this is very, very firm. Doesn't mean Randwick will necessarily be the same, but it's not going to have the sting out of it. And there's a couple of horses here that I think do appreciate the bang out of the track. So Buenos Noches is one of those. I'm convinced that horse would prefer a dead to soft track. And Overpass. I'm fairly convinced he's got a much better record with the sting out than he does on a firm track. 2 of the horses who I was thinking I'd like going into it. Where I've landed is In Secret. I think she's got a particularly good record second up over the distance, albeit those races were earlier in her career when she ran and won over 1,100. But her run first up, where most thought it was going to be, well short of her best, and the stable weren't particularly confident, was excellent. And I think she'll step up another level and fire here on Saturday. And I think what really sealed it for me is the barrier where she's going to get to. She'll probably be outside of Buenos Noches, or at least outside and ahead of him, and dictate to him to a degree. and I'm not sure how anything's going to come from behind her and win. I think she's going to be the one who's going to handle the conditions best, is set up best, and is ready to strike and ready to win in terms of intent and conditioning for the race.
Do you think you touched on Overpass? I think In Secret gets into the Everest, no worries. I think it'll be.
She'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think Overpass has done enough to earn that slot in the Everest, or is this a real
He hasn't done enough now.
ground?
So not insofar as because I think he has to do something on Saturday to get himself one.
He did run second in this race first up last year, split nature strip and lost some running. That's a repeat of that effort. You'd have to think slot holders are knocking on the door. Maybe not locked in to get it, even if he does win.
The big thing in his favour is they're looking for on-speed horses, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think everyone is in each other's head about there's no speed in this race. All the chances are going back. So, you probably want as your only chance to knock them off or finish in the business end of placings is something that sits on that speed and can kick. And he's one of those. He's another one which on Saturday for me, just you can find the knock, and that's 1100. I think he's a 1200 metre horse, So, but I think he probably needs to show up in the top three. Buenos Noches another, needs to show up in the top three.
I think Buenos Noches would be a good tab horse for the tab slot. I think it's a bit of a fan favourite. It's one that they could have a bit of fun with.
I agree.
But it has to kind of... Yeah, I just...
After Lost and Running, did he Lost and Running trial in the tab colours or something I heard the other day?
Well,
we're talking about this morning.
Lost and Running silks, but with the tab logo on the sleeve. So it would have been the colours he would have worn in the Everest.
So you think it's a done...
I don't think it's a done, but I think maybe it's connections saying, hey, remember 12 months ago we were $6 in this race and you had us in your slot.
Yeah, you
named I love the horse,
renamed a pub.
Yeah.
I love the horse, but I couldn't give him a slot until he shows his back.
You'd need to see that he's back, but I think
absolute proving
I think his trials this time in have suggested that he's on track to be back, but a lot of water to go under the bridge.
Yeah. They can trial well. They can absolutely trial well because he's so good. He's such a good horse and he's got so much class and ability. Look at Nature Strip, trialed the house down.
Yep.
You've got to see a horse like that return. I think if you've got a slot to spend anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely.
If he does race well,
he did. Well, he ran third in the shorts and then he won the Premier last year. So that's going to be that same path that he's on. So you would imagine if he gets picked up, it's not after Saturday, certainly.
He likes a dry track, doesn't he, from memory? The wet tracks were hurting him last prep, I think. So that's fair.
Yeah.
You can have a couple of bets in this race. I definitely believe that. But, I think that kind of top 3, top 4 of the market are the ones to watch because I think they could literally walk out of this with a win on the way to a slot next week.
Yep.
Okay.
So you're locking in, mate?
What are we locking in?
In Secret or Private Eye?
Yeah, I think it's got to be In Secret.
Yeah.
I really do.
She's for sure the horse to beat. She was super first up. She's got the fitness edge. She's got a good gate. The 1100 is probably more to her liking. Like, she's the obvious.
Yeah. I love to work through the line. She really attacked that line the last 50 metres and threw it.
Very impressive horse.
I was on Remark in that race, and like In Secret wasn't really one I was worried about over the 1,000. And when he got clear and I saw her coming, I thought, if she's this close and finishing the way she is here, she's going to be really hard to beat.
What a good race, hey? You just mentioned Remark. We haven't even touched on him, and he just won the race the other day. He
won the Concord 4 wide, no cover on speed, and now he comes into barrier 2, and he's just going to get a nice little,
hasn't got to mention
nice little cushy run in behind them, and
good race.
Yeah.
Great race.
And the Makybe Diva Stakes, our Group 1 this weekend is another fantastic race. We'll finish on this one, guys. Wide. I kind of wish there was a few more takers up in this race, a Group 1 being contested by, what do we got, 7 runners. Mr. Brightside is currently $1.90 is our short price favourite with Dabble. Alligator Blood, $3.90. Princess Grace at $4.40. Osipenko at 11s. Aegon, 23s. Francesco Gardi, 26. Spanish Mission, $51. Princess Grace would have to do a lot to go against history here and have one of the ladies take out Makybe Diva Stakes.
Not many of them in it, do they say?
No. I think there's only been maybe 2 in the history actually take it out. Nick might be right.
Sunline win it once? No?
Here we go.
Maybe not. Makybe obviously won it. She had to have won it once.
She didn't.
What, they named it and she never won the race and they named it after it?
The race was called...
It used to be the Craig Lee.
The Craig Lee, that's right, yep.
Northerly
won one of these, I think, once.
Northerly has,
what mares?
This has just got from 2000. We've got Sky Height. In terms of mares, though...
No Sunline.
I think there might be one.
No Sunline, unless it was 98 that she won it. But I remember Mystic Journey went around a short price favourite, got beaten by Gadding at triple figures. It
was 100 to 1, I think. Yeah. Jamie Carr rode it.
Yep.
Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
I remember that.
Yeah, none of them are really jumping off the page as mares. Marasco wasn't a mare, no. Pompey Ruler, no.
So essentially, if you are a Princess Grace backer, you need history to kind of go your way as well.
Yeah. I don't think any in the last 23 years have been a mare.
Are you with or against Mr. Brightside here at $1.90, Emmett?
I'm with him. You'd have to be mad to get off this horse. Absolutely mad as a cut snake. Kept to the 1400 second up. The knockers came out saying he'll be flat. He wants a mile. He still won. Still handled them. Won comfortably, even though he was challenged. Gets to his mile now, which, what's his record? 9 from 13 at a mile. You know, what a horse. I don't think his record at the track isn't as strong, but I don't think there's anything really in that. I think it's just more circumstantial. He's won nearly half his races in his career. He is the form horse of the spring. There is nothing at all that I can find to knock this horse. And he's a deserved short price favourite. He will be winning again, and he'll take all of us punters with him.
Very, very confident.
It's hard to knock him.
No, you don't have to knock him, but, you know, you've got the blood coming back a bit more, you know, fitter.
That's the only angle,
distance.
Boys. That is
the only one that I think... Look, Osipenko would be nice for those futures tickets, but who knows? It'll be fucking 20 to 1 by jump on Saturday, and we've pleased the unders God again.
Waller can strike in these big mile group ones, though. So that's a third scenario that, you know, no one's going to be stunned if it happens. But the blood improving. Come on, Sam, tell us. He'll be better second up.
100%. That last run, and it was a cracker of a run. I think it was only 1 length off him in the end. Maybe 1.5 lengths off him in the end. I can't remember exactly, but absolutely. Pet distance. Oh, police are out. We're opposite the police station here. I don't know if that's come through, but
I can hear it.
I think... big
heart pounding. He's clear. He wins.
We might see that again. We mentioned it this morning. I think this would be the Group 1 that they've got kind of picked out on the calendar that they'll be able to get through and maybe sneak one off. And
on a nice fourth in.
I worry that obviously Mr. Brightside not peaking too early here, is it just Mr. Brightside continues on and just wins anything and everything?
I trust the Hayes boys. Their main target is the King Charles, right? So that's next, fourth up. I'd be concerned for anything beyond that. Third up, he should be okay. He's had a couple of hard runs. You know, you could be right, Sam. All it will take is an ordinary run, a below par run, and everyone will be saying, well, of course, you know, peaked too soon, you know, too many hard runs very early in the prep. And in hindsight, that's going to make a lot of sense, and you might actually be spot on. I just would have thought those Hayes boys will know that horse well enough to have timed his run in a fashion that doesn't put this race at risk. And he's going to peak up, you know, absolute 110% for King Charles Day next start, and he should be able to handle this along the way. I don't see why those picket fences can't remain.
With or against, Nicky boy?
I think I've got to be with. Unfortunately, I haven't been on him in his first 2 runs this prep. The first time he drew bad, and I think I might have backed. I think I backed Pinstriped all in at like $18, and he jumped $7 and ran second to him, and then for some reason jumped off Pinstripe last start. But anyway, but the form out of that race has just stood up really well. We saw, I think, was it second, third, fourth, and fifth behind Mr. Brightside in the PB Lawrence ran first, second, third, and fourth in the Fian on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then obviously Mr. Brightside went and won the Memsey first up off that tough run. Zamet, you mentioned his Flemington record. He's only won 1 from 6, but like you go back through it, he's run fourth in a Group 1 Kentala, beaten 0.3 of a length. He got beaten by Corner Pocket in a listed race. First up, the fault-throwing prep. He ran fourth to Inspirational Girl, ran fourth to Zaki in the All-Star Mile. And that was I'm Thunderstruck. And I forget the horse that ran third. Maybe Streets of Avalon might have run third, but the Doncaster trifecta came out of that race.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you go back at the end of last prep, after running in a Cox Plate, he went back to the Champion Stakes and ran third to Alligator Blood, and Tuvalu beaten a length. So it's not like he's been walloped in his 6 Flemington runs. He's literally been half a length off winning a Group 1 there. So, a lot to like about him. I think he's easily the best miler in the country, and quite possibly knocking on the door to say he's the best horse in the country. If he keeps up this sort of effort, like I don't think he's a much better miler than he is a 2,000 metre horse. I spoke to JD last week. They're still planning on going to the Cox Plate and then maybe either the Champion Stakes or the Champions Mile. So that'd be fifth up. That'd be sixth up. Those sort of races. Who knows? Like, I don't think he can win a Cox Plate, but if he did, like, easily he's the best horse in the country. If he goes unbeaten and wins a Cox Plate, fifth up after a Memsey, a Makybe Diva, a King Charles, and a Cox Plate, like, that's champion status.
He's an interesting horse because I agree. He is a supreme miler, right? He's won 2 Doncasters and All-Star Mile. That's enough said, but there's much more than that. But from memory, going back in his career, I'm trying to go through it now. Like, he's won up to 2,400 or something, hasn't he? Or has he won over a big distance in the past? Like, I'm sure.
No, I don't think he's been past 2,000. But
was it only 2,000?
Yeah, and just in the Caulfield Stakes and the Cox Plate, but. From memory, because he's weirdly bred. He's by Bull Bars, who isn't a mainstream stallion. Like, you wouldn't have heard of anything else by Bull Bars. I think when the stable got him out here, the plan was always Caulfield Cup horse.
That's what it was. They always had a Caulfield Cup plan. Okay, I remember there was always to be a stayer.
Yeah, it was always sort of Caulfield Cup, and this could be our Japan Cup horse and replicate Better Loosen Up. So. Yeah, obviously they've worked him out that he's an elite miler. He's never won past the mile.
He's an amazing miler.
He's a very, very good horse. I'm very keen to see Osipenko Mile Flemington third up. I think this is the race that Chris has always sort of penciled in for him. I think he can be a Cox Plate type. I don't know. Alligator Blood is just. I was talking about it with some mates the other day, and we said Gigi Kick could end up in the same category, go from cult hero status to owners come out and make a dick move and everyone start to hate the horse. Like, Alligator Blood, like, he won the CSAs the weekend of my 18th or 19th birthday, and we filled the pub and like we were cheering him on. He was the Queenslander going down to Melbourne. I can remember using all of my international roaming when I was in Japan when he won the Australian Guineas just to watch the race. Like, I absolutely love the horse, and now it's just sort of. He's had those issues. The owner's a bit of a tool, and it's sort of like, geez, he's hard to cheer for. I've dropped off him a bit, but
I think it's an important part of a horse's career as well is to win that public over, and that we kind of didn't touch on it.
And that's what Mr. Brightside is doing, because it's impossible not to love Ben, JD, and Will, and then you've got all the owners that like everyone loves the song Mr. Brightside, and they sing it, and
they're battlers, and he like.
Why do they pay $22,000 for it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, Punt Hub on Facebook. They've got 100,000 members in there. The Andrew Porter that runs that, he said, one of my mates owns this, and he tipped it at like 50s to the whole group.
Early in his career, is it?
No, this was last year before it won the Doncaster.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like big race, big time, got the good price. Or maybe it wasn't 50s, maybe it was like 30s or something like that. Like,
I think maybe the All-Star Mile, he might have been a big price in an All-Star Mile. His first Doncaster, he was a big price.
Big price for sure.
Oh, maybe I'm talking two back.
It could be two back.
Yeah, but like he is the people's horse, and I think that's a big part of it. And this is where Rocket Rod Douglas could get himself in a bit of stripe. Is like we said, in this morning's podcast, like if Willow turned around and said, "Okay, I'm not going to be spoken to like that. I'm gonna get off the horse, and I'm going to go find myself another Everest horse and come up against Giga Kick." I think a lot of the public would be behind him and go, "Actually, that's a really good way of handling that," and I wouldn't mind seeing that happen. But yeah, I think Mr. Brightside, it ticks all the boxes. It really, you want it to be a bit of a cult status horse. If it's not already there, I don't know what else it needs to really.
I think he
there.
would cement himself as an Australian racing cult hero if he wins the King Charles on Everest Day in front of 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure if he goes into that race as favourite, which he will, that PVL and the ATC, even though Sweet Caroline's the star of the show over the speakers before the Everest, I'm sure Mr. Brightside will come on at some point and there'll be 40,000 people.
Yeah. Mug might even do another TikTok of Mr. Brightside. Remember that one?
With any luck, with any luck, he will.
I don't think he Googled the lyrics before it.
I don't think he'd heard the song before.
I don't
to
think
be honest.
he can hear the song when he's singing it. All right, so we're locking in Mr. Brightside. So we've got, where are we? We've got In Secret, Mr. Brightside, and we've got Pericles a Place.
Yes.
Sounds good. I'm going to copy that. There's nothing wrong with that bet.
No, not at all. This could be the week.
Especially when they're all three of yours, mate.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
I'll give you Mr. Brightside.
We were aligned on Pericles and Mr. Brightside. But the one we went head
So
to
it's like,
head.
all right, I'll back it.
I was going to say, I hope you're happy with it.
Matt, thanks so much for jumping on with us.
Anytime,
really
lads.
good
Anytime.
feedback when we get you on the show.
You got anything else, Matty, this week around the grounds? I know you've missed the last episode or two when we've got Zemet on. Zemet's brought in his own segment to Locked In.
I have.
Oh, I like this.
Well,
Around the grounds.
well, hang on
the
a
grounds.
minute. It's been a successful
Newcastle.
segment, Nicholas.
It has. Yes.
How good are you? Did everyone a favour? I don't get any fan mail. Do you guys get it and just not send it to me, boys, or what happens? You know, like, I'm sure you're inundated.
We all we soak it up ourselves. Gives ourselves
That
a
was
pat on
meant
the
for
back.
me.
Yeah. Good call getting Zamet on. Well done. That's for you.
I wasn't prepared for this one for some reason this week. I forgot.
He's tried to ram his little
own
segment in there, and
Who have we
put him
got?
on. Be something at Newcastle on Friday.
Nick,
or
you give
something.
yours. You give yours while I'm just locking it up because I'm pretty sure I know. Oh yeah, look, Kaboo in race 10.
That was the last race on Saturday.
Yeah, well, shit, that was good to me last week. A red card in the last race was good to everyone, wasn't it? So I love going home a winner. So Kaboo in the last race. You got to wait till the scratchings come out though, emergencies and whatever else, because they'll nail you with deductions. But that jumped out at me amongst a couple of others. Kaboo in the last, I thought. What do you reckon, Nick?
Yep, race 4, Flemington, number 3, King's Gambit. I'm really keen to see him back.
Yeah.
I think he can really. I honestly do think he might be the best horse of his. I don't want to say generation and make it sound like the 2000s, but of the 3-year-old crop, I think he can stamp himself as the best because there was that hype around him going into the 2-year-old season. He just did everything wrong back as a 2-year-old. In those races in Sydney throughout the summer. He was dominant, winning his only race in Melbourne. He gets down the straight for the first time, like Shin back on.
Yeah.
A lot to like. If he's worked it out and put it all together, he's been trialling well. He always did, but yeah.
I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. I was against the grain as a 2-year-old supporting him. Everyone had got off him and thought he's overhyped. I've seen no reason to get off him. He's always looked like he'd just explode as a 3-year-old now.
Yeah, I think he can honestly get an Everest slot and be more than competitive in the Everest.
Yep. As do I. I think it's interesting that first win of his that day. I think it was his debut. Rated through the roof, but the form has been it absolutely stinks.
Yeah, there's not been much out of it.
So yeah, it's been a bit of a recipe for potting the horse rather than it actually holding up to give him any substance. But I still believe in the horse's ability. I don't think he'll let rip up the straight there on Saturday. It's a good one, Nick. I'm right behind you with that one.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Well done, boys.
Happy families here today.
Yeah, there's no infighting.
Usually Pat's.
None of that. Yeah, that's right. We missed Pat's kind of.
What did Pat say last week?
abrasiveness.
He said you'd have to be as loyal as a Labrador to be tipping Golden Mile again.
He did.
and it
And it won.
Geez, I give ourselves a pat on the back. Golden Miles, good price. The Inevitable flew home, good price. There are a couple of others.
Attrition,
$8. Yep.
What was the other?
They were too hard seconds to cop.
I was going to say
the Inevitable and Attrition. Wow.
There was another race that we would have tipped the winner in. It might have been a short price favourite, was it? What was the other race that we did?
What was that?
Because we all
Cylinder.
agreed on
Cylinder.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Got the job done.
Usually, one of the good things about Karma, I suppose, is when Pat has a big kind of say and wants to put everyone in their place, he usually gets it wrong.
Egg ends up on his face.
But I love it that he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind how he looks or anything like that. So he's actually, you know why he's not on the show today? He's playing golf with Malcolm and Jeff.
Yeah, I heard.
So
yeah.
Blake had to shoot off today, so we couldn't get him on the show, and Pat couldn't come on the show because he's playing golf with Blake's dad. So it's good for some, isn't it? The rest of us have to get back to the grindstone.
That's right.
But thank you, Zamet. Thank you, Nick. Good luck this weekend, punters.
Cheers, legends.
And if you are going to have a bet this weekend, make sure you dabble responsibly.
Sounds
Cheers.
good.
Thanks.
Thank you, mate.
Anytime, boys. Anytime.
Yeah, that's good. Well, if that